What's fueling Beerfield?
We're making it really quick.
All right, Ryan, what are you drinking?
I am drinking New Orthodox Indian Pale Ale B43, the new grapefruit that just came out.
Nice. B43.
Yeah, like
Brut
no,
IPA.
M43.
Fruited?
Yeah.
Brut IPA.
Yeah. Nice.
A fruited Brut IPA.
A
All right.
Brut IPA. That should be nice and dry.
Nice in New Zealand. Dry right there.
For sure. Dan, what you have sounds pretty fantastic.
I am
I'm a
I went in the
little,
Bennies.
a little jealous. I'm not gonna lie.
I went in the Bennies to do my weekly rounds, and obviously, as we know, this is the lead up to Christmas, so they're fucking busy. But also means really cool shit gets to come out. So I do have some cooler stuff for some future shows. But today, I have Pollyanna Brewing. They're out of St. Charles, pretty much a suburb of Chicago, but they're widely known for a Chicago brewery. This is in collaboration with Goldfinger Brewery, also out of Chicago, I believe.
They are.
And then Benny's, which is the big massive liquor store here in Illinois. So this is an American country lager called Rustic Route, 6.5%. Pretty high for a lager. They even have the hop bill on there. So the hops they use is Cluster, American Noble Simcoe, and American Noble Sintra. They use malts from Sugar Creek, Vienna, Two Row, Triticale, Spelt, and shit. And then they use a German lager for their yeast, which makes sense.
What did you say, Triticale?
Yeah, there you go, Triticale.
They're using Triticale. Okay, so Triticale is a
That's a
malt.
very hard word for me to pronounce.
Yeah, it's a wheat rye hybrid specialty grain. It's a hybrid
Okay.
wheat and rye. So
Actually sounds kind of good.
it is.
It's very much drinks like a lager.
couple of guys in the homebrew club really like that malt. So. Cool.
More
Should
body
give,
than-
should give some interesting depth.
I'm used to. Oh yeah, it's definitely there.
All right, I've got Urban Chestnut Brewing Company. I'm drinking a Czech Pilsner. So recently put Czech Pilsner and Porter out. Just no fancy names, no fancy sticks, just classic, good old beer from Urban Chestnuts. More on that at some point in the episode. All right. Welcome to Beerfield. I am your host at Beerfield Hop, Chris Hopper. As always, joined by at Ryan Miner _FFB at Beerfield Theory. Gentlemen, how are you?
What's going on? What up? What up? What up?
Dan
No,
looks
things are going pretty well.
Dan looks confused.
I was very happy. I was like, who needs order? Who really needs?
Nobody needs order, and because of that, let's go ahead and preview some of these games for this upcoming week. Championship week, not championship week. Sorry, it's semifinals week.
Semifinals week, yes.
Yeah, semifinals week. So, we want to give you the best information we can. So let's just cut to the chase. You've got Rams and Saints playing right now on the Thursday night game. Rams are up 10-0 on the strength of a Puka Nacua touchdown from Matt Stafford. He's already got 138 yards passing with 5 minutes left in the second quarter. So they are trending relatively nicely. But yeah, updates on that as it happens. Doesn't look like it's going to be the same score fest last week was.
Yeah, they just missed on a third and short. Got fourth down. Looks like now.
All right, something we haven't done.
Can't catch anything.
Something we haven't done in a while. We'll do again this week. Is I would quick hit every matchup this week. If there's anything we like, don't like, etc., etc. Bengals Steelers. Kenny Pickett should mostly be back.
He's out.
Is he out?
Yeah, he's already there. I called him out for this
Officially?
week.
Yeah, he was practicing limited. So
God, this week is this game.
the Saturday
You
game.
know, tough defensive, a tough defensive matchup again.
But
And Pittsburgh's not known to try to push score, so especially with there being no Pickett.
nope, no Jamar Chase for the Bengals either. So Browning's been good, but this may not be the matchup to get cute with in any regard. I wouldn't think.
Unless you're looking to replace Tyler, or not Tyler Boyd, but Jamar Chase, I would replace him with Tyler Boyd.
Yeah.
Because the Steelers do struggle against slot wide receivers quite a bit.
Yep, that they do.
And they also struggle with their own receivers blocking for their running backs, but it's okay.
If
Speaking
you
of
don't want
George
to get hurt, you
Pickens,
just don't block.
The Bengals are an okay defensive matchup as well, but might be Mason Rudolph throwing him footballs. So
It's not like it got any better when they went from Trubisky to Rudolph. So
It just keeps going downhill.
it just keeps getting worse and worse. We're potentially watching the Mike Tomlin era come to a close in Pittsburgh.
we are indeed. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think he'll get fired for them being as competitive as they are, but you might be watching a retool coming in hot. I don't think he'll get
We'll
fired.
see. Yeah.
All right, Bills.
see.
By the way, that is a Saturday game. Saturday at 3:30. You've
Yes.
got 2 Saturday games.
There's 3 of them. Or 2. Okay.
There's 2. The Thursday game, 2 Saturday games, and there are 3 Monday games.
Yep.
Because of
3 Christmas games.
Yep.
Just remember, and it's a gift that keeps on giving on Christmas.
Right.
More football.
So matchups are going to be pretty spread out this week. The Saturday night game is Bills at the Chargers. Chargers are without Herbert. They'll be starting Easton Stick. They did just fire Brandon Staley. So
And Keenan Allen's ruled out.
Keenan Allen's
ruled out
out.
this afternoon.
So you're okay with Josh Palmer. He's got big playability. He should be the generally focal point of the passing game. If you have to run that back, if you need a replacement for him, for Allen or Jamar Chase or whatever, you're okay with Palmer. The Bills side of things, James Cook's been on an absolute tear. But what do you do with this Bills receiving game?
You're
Not
still playing
exactly been
Diggs because the
trustworthy.
volume's there, but you got 0 spots from both, Kincaid and Davis, which is your only other really reliable options. And I mean, they won last week in such fashion that Josh Allen barely threw the football.
And that's what the game
it was a
script-
running game show.
And it could be that
15
same game
total
script this
passes.
week. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because last week the matchup on paper felt so much like a shootout. Like it should have been, right? Like you have the second highest scoring offensive football in Dallas. You have an improved Buffalo team, but it felt like Buffalo's whole script for that game was to keep Dallas's offense off the field.
No,
Best way to do that is to run the football and drain the clock, which is exactly what they did.
and they did, but they also did a really good job of throwing the timing of that offense off defensively.
Exactly. Like they basically beat them the way that Baltimore would beat teams, back in 2019.
Yeah.
It's all based off time of possession clock. So I don't know if they have to worry about it that much, but
Not
there's
this
only
week.
been really one reliable option for Buffalo, when it comes to receiving game, and that's been Diggs. And even Diggs has struggled, but you're not gonna,
Right.
bench Diggs because he is the passing offense when they have to get it going. Matchup looks bad on paper in terms of, in terms of game script for throwing, but I feel a little more confident running Diggs out.
Top wide receivers
Yes,
are generally
absolutely.
fine in
Yeah.
negative game script, but
And I would even probably run it back with Kincaid. Like I don't think
Yeah.
Kincaid's going to throw off a little nugget again there, but
it is negative game script. Let's be very, very clear. Unless your name is James Cook, it's probably going to be negative game script. Or the
fuck,
Bills-
even Latavius Murray had some run. And Ty Johnson's being worked back into the offense
Yep.
for some reason. So touchdown.
Bills defense
Thanks.
too, by the way. If you're looking streamers, they had a couple bad performances that might be floating. A couple bad not last week, obviously, but a couple weeks leading up to that. Not great performances, not great matchups. It's a juicy place to get double-digit defensive points this week.
Yeah, I'm assuming if you're in a league that has defensive, hopefully Buffalo was picked up off your waivers.
Yeah.
If they're still out there for whatever reason, yes, as Hopper mentioned, go scoop them up.
Next
How do we
game.
feel about Austin Eckler?
I feel like you have to play him, but it's not pretty.
I mean, they should be in theory, right? If we believe
Yeah.
that it's going to be a negative passing script for Buffalo, which means it's going to be a positive passing script for
the Chargers, he should
the
be
Chargers.
utilized.
The Buffalo has a better pass rush than I think a lot of the teams that they've faced so far, even with some of the injuries they have. No Keenan Allen. They're going to keep everything short. Easton Stick looked terrible, but we're not going to get anything different. So
I just don't know how you.
Eckler might get it on
Ugh.
volume, right? I mean, fuck, who knows? It was
He's been awful in the last 4 of his last 5.
yeah,
games.
it's been
Well, but then you get into
if
running
you're there
back
with Eckler,
too,
I think
right?
you're playing him.
Yeah. If you
Yeah.
made it that far with Eckler, first off, congratulations, because there's probably not a lot of people.
I
in the
have in one league.
semifinals that
I have in one league. I made it this far with Eckler.
But
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't know
look-
how.
but
I don't know
also-
how.
Look what Tony Pollard did last week against this defense. I mean, he didn't even get 8 PPR points.
Well, and I just come back to like he's so involved in the receiving game, and where I mean, what else are you gonna?
But yeah,
do?
but he's not really anymore. He's not really involved in the receiving
But
game
what
anymore.
else are you gonna do? And that's the hard part with running backs right now, is it's so thinned out with injury, timeshares, and ineffectiveness. What else are you gonna do? What's a better option right now that is realistically on a bench behind somebody? Maybe Tyjae Spears, maybe Chase Brown, maybe Jet McKinnon or Edwards-Helaire if Pacheco doesn't go. But
He's
you know,
playing. Not the full practice. I think it's
Okay.
he's expected to play.
maybe Justice
Yeah.
Hill working his way
I mean,
back
what if you
into the
have
Ravens.
Kyron
routine.
I mean, would
Williams
you
right
really
now,
trust
yeah.
Justice Hill too? Either
No.
like
No.
I trust Eckler.
I
You're
don't
not
trust.
playing-
Yeah,
Are you really going to go out and say, I'm going to play these guys over?
I got one
Eckler?
for you then. I tied Chandler. Also, a very difficult matchup against Detroit, but who's also coming off of a career game against the Bengals.
I would play Chandler over him.
Would you play Chandler over Eckler?
Yeah, that,
Yeah, oh yeah.
I would
Okay.
probably do that. But the point of that is that there's not a lot, and you're damn sure not finding a replacement level value on waivers. You may or may not have something on your bench, but it's going to be few and far
Well, people are gonna
between,
say, like,
right? So
They're afraid to sit the name. It's Austin Eckler. I can't sit him. I spent a 3rd overall pick on him. There's no way.
you got better options.
I think for me,
You
it's
can
not
sit
even.
him, but
yeah, like it's not even that at this point.
it's just you don't have better
Who's-
options.
some people-
who's going to get you snapped?
some people
Who's
still
gonna get
have
the
that.
opportunity. I mean,
Some people-
you know, if they do, it's. I gave you Chandler. Who else would be on the bubble that you could? That it's not who you can pick up and replace, but
Zamir White maybe against the Chiefs. It's another tough matchup. Maybe Zamir White if
you got to see if Josh Jacobs
isn't he's not practicing right now.
He's
So
not practicing still. Okay.
yeah. So I mean, there's a solid chance that you're not doing Zeke.
Raheem Mostert, if you had him later, because I mean, Raheem Mostert was like a 10th round.
I mean,
pick.
you're not.
But
you're not
you're
benching
starting
Mostert at this
Mostert
point, anyways.
regardless.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're
Right,
starting.
but I mean,
Mostert
like, if you have
regardless.
that-
What about fine? What about Achan, who's expected to play in full? Would you play Achan over Eckler?
That is a good
Would
one
you
right there.
play
I like that one.
upside
over floor?
in scoring and big play potential Achan over
Yeah. at
Eckler, who's going to play?
at this point,
a lot of steps.
At this point, I'm
Okay,
playing all the upside.
Yeah. So
Yeah, exactly.
that's also true. This is also the playoffs where you're playing against good teams.
Yeah.
Let's be real. Like every
Right.
matchup you're playing against, it's not going to be some bad opponent who's got a bunch of injuries. Like
You're not doing either Bears back. Zach Moss is going to miss with a forearm injury. Jonathan Taylor's on his way back.
he's practicing
And-
full today with Pittman. He's going to play too. They're both playing this week.
Yeah. But, the point is that, maybe Devin Singletary, if you had him late, he's got another tough matchup. It's just, you're not in a lot of situations where you have a better option than Eckler, I think.
No, not really. That's
No.
true.
So,
I mean, because you spent a high draft pick on him,
right.
and you
exactly.
probably, depending on how you did your team building and how you played your waivers, right?
Running back depth is hard to forecast. So unless you played your waivers well or trades well, and even then, running back depth is considered. You've got 3 guys that can start in a fourth that's a maybe, and that's
Yeah.
considered running back depth these days. I saw a meme on this next game that was it was like the penetrable force meets the movable object. Jets and Commanders. Is this ugly? Is it good because it's two bad teams? Zach
Are we getting
Wilson?
Howell? Are we getting
I don't know if we're getting Howell, and Zach Wilson's likely going to miss with a concussion. So you could be getting Simeon.
Oh God, it's still
Well,
the Jets defense. Like,
So let's see.
so it's going to be what, potentially Jacoby? Is it Brissett that's backing up
Brissett if
Heineke?
it's not
Yes. Yeah.
or not Heineke?
Yeah, Brissett.
Howell. It'd be Brissett
Howell.
if it's not Howell.
Oh my God.
This is ugly.
The over under 37, and they have the Jets by 3 right now.
Speaking of which, you make a good point about that Jets defense. I should probably go get Terry McLaurin.
And it is that is not the lowest game total of the week.
Ow.
Game total is not. There are not very good game totals this week. Highest
No.
is your Dolphins, Cowboys, and that's not even. That's just at 49.5, which feels relatively light for your two highest scoring teams this year.
I kind of hope Jacobs doesn't play.
He's looking like he's.
I
Gonna play,
picked up
though.
Zamir White. I picked up Zamir White in a league, in a semis league that I just lost Jamar Chase in. So I would be very fucking happy. Which I may never say this again. I may not be as happy as I am to ever play Zamir White. Ever. But maybe he's the next Kyron Williams, running back I don't love that ends up being productive.
I could see that. All right. There's not a lot here that I care about in this game or care about. It's probably going to be ugly. It's going to be low scoring. You shouldn't really be targeting things. Hall should be fine. Wilson should be fine. McLaurin's scary against this defense. Like, I don't know. I don't have a lot to say.
I think the whole game is scary. I think Hall, as you mentioned,
It's a
has an
trap.
opportunity. It might be a trap, but Hall also fucking, ducked last week. How many championship leagues, how many teams with Hall are even still in it?
Well,
with it-
I'm not even in it.
Yeah, like with his inconsistencies throughout the
take
year too.
let's
Who
take
knows?
the Austin Eckler discussion we just had and just plug in Bryce
Yeah.
Hall's name, and
Yeah.
here we are again.
Yeah. Because there is no real competition. There
Yeah.
isn't even a Josh Kelly that's going to be taking snaps away from Hall, and
Right.
like you're playing Zach, like you're going to play Garrett Wilson. You're just hoping for fucking volume. You have an offense on the other side of the ball that's also struggling to score points. And like that like feels like an under 30 game, and it's like, do you really want to target that game?
No.
For your guys,
No.
you're probably going to have to play Garrett Wilson if you're still in it with him.
I don't see a game this week that I do want to target. Is in
Because there is no
I want to
game
target
this
the
week.
game. There are teams.
I had this
tar-
conversation with Nick.
There are certainly teams to target this week, but there aren't games to target.
The game
They
is
look bad.
the two games that you're hoping. Obviously, the Dolphins Cowboys, because you're hoping that the
Yeah.
Cowboys can bounce back, and that Tyreek Hill was close to play last week, should play this week. That should be a game in which scoring is very much there. You have the two highest scoring teams in the league,
And the Ravens,
and then
the
obviously
Niners.
Ravens Niners. But that's again, you're hoping two offenses will just be close enough where they're always playing aggressive. Like,
Yeah. And really turning around on this slate, like your plus matchups, when I look at teams that potentially have plus matchups, the Eagles against the Giants, although the Eagles have been out of sorts and the Giants defense hasn't looked as trash, but like Eagles got another shot at a get right game in that one. Chiefs against the Raiders, same story, right? Offense
they're struggling to score
been out
points
of-
too.
Now Pacheco and Rashi Rice, very, very trustable.
You're definitely playing Rashi. And
You're
if
playing
Pacheco
Rashid,
goes, you're
yeah,
playing.
Pacheco.
Yeah,
But
you're playing both.
and you're not sitting Kelsey by any means. So I mean that's
No, you can't.
one side towards the Chiefs, right? But beyond that, there's really not any. I mean, Bears against the Cardinals might be juicy for DJ Moore, but
I got a question asked today. It was targeted to Nick and I. We had a friend of mine. He asks, "Would you play Justin Fields or would you play Tua?" Nick said Justin Fields.
I would probably say
I said Tua. I said Tua, especially if Hill plays. We got into there wasn't really an argument, but it was more so
I would go with
the guy
Fields.
was like, "What's that?"
I'd go Fields.
I said Tua.
I think they.
It just feels like the matchup looks good, but
Fields and Eberflus are playing for a lot, and the rushing floor that you get out of Fields makes the bust less likely.
has he had
But-
rushing floor this year? I'm
Fields,
like legit asking because it doesn't feel like
yeah,
it does not feel like last year. Yeah, Vinny
No,
rushing.
it's definitely not like last year, but he definitely
still
has
there.
some.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's not the same level as last year was other.
Well, last year didn't have an actual wide receiver, to throw to.
Yeah, so
He doesn't really have wide receivers to throw to now outside of DJ Moore because they can't catch lobs.
He's still
apparently.
right around 50 yards a game. They get down to the red
Okay.
zone, he's still a touchdown threat. So I mean, you're still at a 5-point rushing floor there, and it's a plus matchup. So I think so, and I think this could be a solid passing matchup too, honestly. But also, where the hell did I just lose those stats at?
This two rush.
It's been-
God, yeah. I just
It's
don't love it.
Been
I just
better
don't
the
love it this
last
week.
3 of the last 4 games. He's been up over 50 yards. His last, yeah, was against Minnesota and Detroit. Game before that against Detroit, where he was otherworldly at 100 on the ground.
I mean, I'd ask them to rush this week, especially if they get up with the lead.
or maybe
The
they
team
do,
wants to run, right?
but
Like,
they do.
Chicago wants to run the football.
Yeah, but they don't have anybody to do it. Foreman's not practicing right now, and Herbert's been dog shit. So,
Yeah.
I would lean Fields, but because there's a world where Tua just hits the bed, right, against the Cowboys pass rush. So there's a world where that happens.
I'm more.
Yeah.
I'm more so.
Doesn't
I'm
work.
not concerned about him shooting the bed because he struggles. I'm more so he doesn't get any touchdowns because it all goes to the running game, especially when they get down there. Ryan, what are your thoughts?
Talking about Fields,
No, I'm talking about Tua.
Tua, yeah.
Yeah, Ryan.
I've
what are
had
you-
many people ask me today, like about Tua, like and a lot of them are even saying, like, they're going to bench Tua for Baker Mayfield, just because they
Oh.
don't know how this game's going to flow. And I'm like,
Silly.
right? And that's how I
Baker
was kinda
coming
looking
off
at
of
it, too.
his historic game. I mean, he
Yeah,
does have
exactly.
talking about matchups. He has one of the best matchups on the slate. Jacksonville has been
And-
torched by QBs all year.
True.
Yeah, and Jacksonville, like Lawrence is looking to actually miss his first career game ever,
Which hurts.
dating back to high school.
People need to realize that also hurts the game because you're not going to have scoring as much scoring output, which means
Oh,
that
give
Tampa Bay
CJ
gets up early.
Beathard, give CJ Beathard some respect.
But I can
That's
see
a
where people are saying though
Sure,
He was
about
Brock
sitting
Purdy.
Tua against Dallas.
he's
Sorry.
Brock Birdie before
Just
Brock
because-
Birdie.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ryan, go ahead.
Sorry,
'Cause-
Ryan.
Because people have short term memory, and their short term memory is it's going to be last week. And look what Josh Allen did. He didn't do shit. He just handed the ball off and then just rushed. And Tua doesn't have much, has like no rushing upside. It's all passing upside. Dallas could be beat deep, but Tyreek Hill looks like he's gonna be fine. But could it be a Raheem Mostert and Devon A-Chain type game or A-Chan type?
Well, the hope
game?
is that you have
That's where I
those
see-
big
that's-
plays,
that-
dude.
The hope is,
what
is
you
that
want.
it's a screen game.
Yeah,
Big plays,
I-
two and one.
I would still say Tua.
I think it's close. I would definitely have him in the same, the same ranking tier for the week. This
Yeah.
isn't
Yes.
like lopsided by any means. This isn't like, oh my God, how would you ask it? Like, this is a very legitimately close call between both.
This is where I like to call flip a coin.
This
go
would
with
be,
that
let me wait to see when Hill is, completely activated. When it's said that he's gonna he's active.
Colts Falcons could be sneaky okay for some floor play, I think.
Depends what Arthur Smith we get. We need Arthur Smith that Drake London get over 10 targets. Or we need Arthur Smith that decided to run Tyler Algier
I
and
hope,
give him more touches.
I
And all
hope
their,
it's-
they're
selfishly, I hope it's Arthur Smith that gets Drake London 10 targets. I'm banking
I
on
mean, we
that.
all
Yeah,
want
Drake
that.
London, yeah.
fucking Arthur Smith, like
I'm banking
He's
on
the
that
new,
because I'm not playing Jaden Reed against Carolina. So
he's the new
With-
Matt Nagy.
with their secondary at strength,
Yeah. That game feels like it could be like a good drunk or a bad drunk, right? We're gonna get a lot of scoring because a lot of defensive turnovers,
Colts and
or
Falcons.
it's just gonna be a fucking struggle. Yeah.
yeah.
JT back helps. And Pittman practiced in full today too, so that he should be
That really helps. Like
that.
I really
That's
like that
fucking
with Pittman
huge
back.
because
Yeah.
Minshew's he's been a sneaky QB too. Touchdown to Marcus Robinson. Got 4 games in a row.
That helps no one.
Damn it.
I almost picked him up in your league.
Did
I was
ya?
close. Yeah, because
Actually,
I don't trust.
That
I don't trust Pickens, and I don't have a third receiver to play.
I was
did
even
it.
hoping
I picked up. I
the Cooper
saw
Cup.
Pickens in, but
Cup can't catch shit today. Eight targets, 3 receptions for 28 yards so far.
no, it's not all just on him. It's the efforts. Apparently, he's only looked good for Puka. So who knows?
And Demarcus Robinson.
Apparently, Robinson too. It's only the first half.
6 for 82. Yeah.
Yeah.
See him not looking good. A more general discussion. Trevor Lawrence did not. Well, granted, it could have been because he was concussed, but man, he did not look good. Last
Wildly
week when I was
inconsistent.
watching him, he was all over the place. I mean, he was just inaccurate as all hell, and it seemed
Speaking
like
of not looking
everything
good,
was being rushed.
Yeah. And not only is he, but stats wise, I saw something on X where they're comparing his stats to Daniel Jones, and they're almost identical.
Yeah,
Like
There's
career
48
stats-wise.
career starts. Yeah. I mean,
And it's like, and we're here. We are giving Daniel Jones shit, and they're like, "Well, Trevor Lawrence was the number 1 pick." Okay, Daniel Jones is number 6 pick.
because a lot of Debbie guys don't want to fall off of the idea that he was supposed to be the chosen one at QB. It's the same course we're probably going to be going through with Caleb Williams, so just be prepared.
Yeah,
I mean, I know you know, so
I'm prepared on that for
That-
Caleb Williams, and I was leading the train on that for Bijan.
not
you're
everyone.
starting
can be
to
chosen
see
one like Nick
some.
Mullins.
You're starting to see stuff out there that people may not think Bijan's as good as. It may not be all on Arthur Smith to why Bijan's struggling to get his own touches, especially consistently.
Oh, weird. Never saw that
But-
coming.
Yeah, I mean it's still egregiously bad that you spent the top 7 pick on a guy and you barely use him. But
And,
It is
and
what it
Lions find
is.
the top 12 pick on a running back, and they know how to use them.
finally,
All right. Anything else from this slate of games that jumps out, or any tidbits to give? The Baker Mayfield tidbit was a good one. Yeah, I don't.
We're to talk about Sunday afternoon, right? We were about ready to do Sunday night.
Oh, I wasn't going through game by game anymore. I just got off of that because we just started jumping around. So I'm just asking, like,
Oh, okay.
look at
I
the
was just kinda
slate,
looking at
and if
Sunday.
there's something else you want to throw out there, throw it out there.
No, I mean Denver, New England. That game just looks like it's going to be a snooze fest. So
a lot of injuries to Minnesota.
Browns
on
and
the
Texans will probably
defensive
be
line.
Browns and Texans will probably be fun, but not for fantasy football purposes.
That's how I feel
Detroit,
about the
Minnesota's
Niners
gonna
and
be fun.
Ravens. Should be.
like I
Minnesota's
don't
got a
know
lot of
why
injuries on their front 7 right now. A lot of injuries. A lot of players not practicing.
I like Nick Mullins this week. And actually, I might have to go pick him up because I actually need a quarterback.
Dude,
And
Ryan,
he's the
depends
one
what
I'm gonna
Detroit
target.
we get. Detroit's been so hot or cold. They're like the
Yeah, but
Katy
it's been-
Perry son. It's like
It's in
they're-
Minnesota, isn't it?
Oh yeah, but again, Detroit. It's like they can look
Detroit doesn't
utterly
travel well.
dominant for one game, and then go on a stretch where Chicago basically outplays them in both games for like 7 quarters.
I've concluded that the Lions need to play on Saturdays at 8:00. Because after watching what they did last weekend, I'm like, this is it. This is how we play from here on out. We're playing Saturdays.
They are so primed to win that division, and yet I look here and I'm just like,
I want to shoot out
Yeah.
game. Like I want this. Like I don't like the Lions defense. It's not that great as people like to wish it was. They can run the ball.
they have no
a
other
nice
pass
tandem there.
rusher, and they feel very undisciplined. A lot of sloppiness
Yes.
when I watched them play. This like on both sides of the ball too, right? 'Cause
Yeah, it's not clean at all.
It's been like they know they're better than most of the teams they face, and yet they play like they're just trying to not lose.
Yeah.
Yeah,
get really
they
fucking
play to
sloppy.
play close games.
Yeah. And then some games you get like last week where they just fucking dominate.
Destroy them.
And it's like, why is like this should be here almost every week? Like,
This is how you're supposed to play every fucking week.
like, like you got that
I'm
coach
drinking
that
the
wants to bite
Kool-Aid.
off fucking kneecaps, and yet, you get games in which it's just like, oh, here's another, here's your 10th, 11th penalty, and you're getting your ass kicked against, Chicago and Green Bay.
Actually, let's go. I got one more player to talk about before we move on. Is Joe Flacco?
He's a QB
He
too.
is actually he's
He's QB
pushing,
too.
but he's pushing Cleveland into the playoff role.
I'm playing against him in like
Hold-
2 leagues.
And hold that thought
I'm
on
like,
the
fuck.
playoffs because we are going to talk about playoff scenarios
Yes.
and the real
Okay.
NFL here in a little bit.
Playoffs. Playoffs.
Wanted to keep this piece on fantasy, but we will get to that.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
I'm sorry.
You're good.
I like Flacco for fantasy. The Browns offense has looked more alive in the last couple of weeks than they've had
My
in all
Amari
of
Cooper.
Watson's time.
My Amari Cooper share is very happy about it.
Now,
Oh my god, I had so many people.
Dick was
bitching me about
sweating when
Amari
Flacco
Cooper.
was like, when Flacco was bad for like,
All the
42
game.
minutes until the final quarter, and it was just like, oh yeah, guys, I'm actually good at this game. And then
It's
the
like
offense came
modern day
alive.
Tim Tebow. Like you go in the fourth quarter, you have 3 points. Like I shouldn't have started Tebow. And
It's
like
like Tim Tebow if he was elite, right?
It's Blake Bortles.
Yeah. If it
Except without the garbage time, the game actually matters.
They're only down 10 points. And they still should have lost the game if Mooney could catch a football
Ooh,
and the refs could call a blatant fucking late hit on a quarterback.
right.
That clip, oh man. I watched it. I'm just like, how did he drop it? Then you see all the clips come out about how Fields got hit super late.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do you call an offsides on a wide receiver when it's obvious and miss an legitimately obvious late hit on a quarterback when you're preaching safety?
Yep.
Ah,
But
refs.
also Mooney should got that.
I can't believe Fields hit a 3-pointer from that far. It went literally right between his arms, man.
It did.
It's like he did everything right until catching the
Except
football.
holding on to the ball. He was in the rebound
he funneled
position.
in the front
He was
for
down
a
on the
tip.
ground. It got funneled.
Oh.
He was right where he needed to be, and he just didn't catch it.
Somebody must have told him in his ear that you have to drop it. We're not trying to ruin our draft stock.
He'll be a Chief next year.
The Chiefs will give up a 3rd-round pick for him.
Saints scored, by the way.
Yeah.
Rashid Shaheed.
Yeah. Bomb play.
deep found.
Yeah.
That's nothing. Click.
No.
News.
All right, kicking off PSA on fake X accounts. Is part of the Elon Musk changes to Twitter. I've seen some fake like Adam Schefter retweets and stuff like that. So just be careful because without the verification or anything else, it's kind of easy to get duped again. Make sure you're paying attention to Twitter handles. That's my PSA. Because you can make your name whatever and your you can make your name, your profile picture, whatever, and there's nothing policing that anymore. So pay attention.
Just don't be quick to react if you see something come out. Vet it first. Don't be like me
Google
from
it.
a while back and be like, hey, Antonio Brown's gonna miss, and then I just misread the fucking thing.
Yeah. Just go Google
That
it.
happens. Yeah, just be smart and wait.
Yep. Chargers fired Brandon Staley. We mentioned this after the beatdown they took last Thursday night, so that was a long time coming.
Godspeed.
Too long.
Who's their interim head coach? Did I miss that?
I think Kellen Moore is. Am
Oh.
I wrong though? I feel like it's gonna be
I thought
Kellen
I
Moore.
thought he declined it.
Oh,
I
did
think
he?
it's AI. It's just AI doing it.
It's gonna be Herbert. Herbert's gonna
just says-
coach from his couch. I'm sure
Chat
he'll be there.
GPT. What play do I run next?
GPT.
Yeah.
Oh God,
It sounds
no.
like somebody from Back to the Future.
It's gonna be
It's
it's gonna be some kid who's really good at Madden calling plays in the headset.
real talk. Do you pronounce this
Yeah,
GIF,
hey.
GIF or GIF?
Yes, I would say GIF.
Gift Smith.
Is that who it is?
Yeah.
Sounds like a creative
What did he
character on Madden.
coach? Sounds like a creative coach on Madden.
It sounds like somebody from Back to the Future.
My name is Gift Smith.
Who is
I'm
it?
You're
36 years old. I'm on here looking for love.
You're one of
Gift
Biff Talen's
Smith
friends I
is
know.
from Farmers Only
He's the outside
commercials. He's got to be the spokesman.
The outside linebacker.
Giff Smith was the
coach.
sidekick in
Is that a good thing?
Giff Smith was the sidekick of Biff Tannen, who wore the 3D glasses.
Yeah. He's the outside linebackers coach.
Okay. So he's a defensive
good
minded
luck.
head coach.
Like even more so, God, man, they're gonna have a defensive head coach.
Actually, there's rumors, and I know that rumors are rumors, but Jim Harbaugh is rumored to be going to the Chargers.
Oh, I can't wait for that. Not
Speaking
to
of
be true.
rumors,
Yeah,
did you see what
exactly.
your offensive coordinator's rumored to be asking for head coaching money?
$1 billion. Do
$15 million a year.
you blame him? Do you want pay me to leave, or I'm not leaving? I like that I like that call. Put your balls on the table and say how you want it.
I want that. I want Minnesota to give Brian Flores that money. I just open here's a blank check. Write what you want. He's gonna get a head coaching job next year, and I'll be very sad.
I'm sure we'll be here to support you when that happens. Aaron Rodgers.
You won't be, but you will be.
Aaron Rodgers activated from IR.
I love
That is freaking crazy.
to not play
It's
the rest
stupid.
of the season.
It's so stupid. I like someone made a comment saying like, "Cool, you're gonna ruin someone's. You're gonna basically, cut some roster bubble guy who's trying to live off that money to appease
they
an
did.
ego like Adrian Rodgers.
Fullback Nick Bodden.
It's so fucking stupid. Like he's not gonna play.
No,
Just let
but-
him go on. Just like why?
This way he
Just-
can practice with the team.
Cool, you're gonna ruin someone's.
Okay. Thanks.
I hate it.
Yeah.
Oh well. He's back in the limelight.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what he wants.
Yes, he gets to hold the clipboard with
Yeah.
shoulder pads on now.
He gets to practice.
He-
Part of his
He
rehab.
he could be Shane Flacco now, or Shane Falco. What is that? The replacements?
Shane
Come out there,
Falco, the
yeah,
replacements.
Shane Falco. Here we
God, I
go.
love that movie. The movie's so good.
Keanu Reeves.
Mhm.
That's a top tier sports movie.
That is.
You can argue a while for people out there that disagree. The
I fucked
Replacement's
up the names for a
amazing.
few minutes, but Dan saved me. Thank you, Dan.
Me with names and being right just does not seem right.
No, actually,
Yes.
Shane
We- was-
Flacco is something I'd expect out of Dan's mouth.
Yeah, no shit, right? I'm the one that'd be fucking it up. Here comes Shane Flacco coming out.
Joe's cousin.
Joe's bastard second cousin.
Nicole Hardman designated to return from IR and practice in Bloodwood role for the Chiefs. They need him badly.
They need a wide receiver badly besides.
They need a
The
wide
world in which
they
those
need-
lines came out of Hopper's mouth is we need Nico Harmon back badly.
They need a wide receiver that can
Yeah.
work deep and actually catch footballs.
And it can't just be the Rasheed Rice that does it all.
Rashi
Does
Rice
Harm-
is not a
Did
deep
Harmon
threat.
work deep ever?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure.
Hardman?
I don't,
Oh yeah, he was always a
They
deep
need
threat.
him.
He's a
They
speed
need him
guy.
to do everything. He
They
screen.
need MVS to do something.
He's
What a waste of
basically
fucking
too-
money.
It's
MVS
The
has dropped
Chiefs
just
are-
as many has dropped just as many deep balls as Tony's dropped 10-yard passes that he could have taken to the house.
just bad. It's what
Yeah,
they
that-
deserve, man. It's what they get for not
Not
for not
investing in the
addressing the wide
receiver.
receiver spot for the last 2 years.
And Mahomes throws it right to these guys, and they just drop it.
He
Rashi
literally hits him in the best spot.
And Rasheed Rice is a good receiver, but he's not a deep guy. He's gonna have the intermediate routes on lock, and he has, and he's done it really well. But he's
Yeah.
not a deep guy.
He's
No,
not-
a deep guy at all.
Yeah.
It's a team that requires a deep guy to work, and we've seen him get, MBS and Justin Watson open deep, and just, it doesn't play out. So
Man.
Especially when it
What-
looks like Kelsey has kind of also gone back down. And I know he's been hurt, but He's also looking like he's missing, like he's starting to start showing his age,
Declining, yeah.
declining.
Man.
And they have literally no, like they have Blake Bell and Noah Gray who cannot step up in those shoes at all.
No.
And they have none of these receivers. Like MVS is just like you can just let him go deep because he's gonna drop the ball, 85% of the time.
Even though he's open and you can get it to him, and he's open. That's the frustrating part.
Yeah.
Like, just catch the damn ball, but he can't.
Justin Watson's good for his 30% of the snaps because he's not good enough to start earning more snaps in this bad wide receiver room. So
It's like Hardman's about the only hope they have at fixing that this year.
yep.
They got potential to trade for Tyreek Hill in 2025. So
Come back home, please.
Yeah,
doesn't
Tyreek,
wanna go back there.
Tyreek
He
Hill.
doesn't want to go back there.
No, he doesn't.
no, here he says he's a retired Dolphin
He's got
Yeah.
7 baby mamas to deal with right now
that we know of so far,
that we know of. Yeah.
Love it.
and he just married one 3 weeks ago.
Just
Yep.
keep spreading your seed, my dude.
Yes,
Repopulate
new,
the earth.
The new Antonio Cromartie.
The new Sean Kemp.
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor returning from IR. We already talked about that. Tyreek Hill back at practice. We talked about that. Josh Jacobs is not practicing, but is expected to return to the field this week. Zach Wilson not practicing due to a concussion. Smith is back at practice for the Seahawks. No word on if it'll be him or Drew Lock starting. Drew Lock, after leading a amazing fourth quarter final. drive.
Dude, his
His
post
post-game interview
game
was so
shit.
cool.
I made dog on Lock, and that's mainly because of Hopper. But man, that story has been.
It was so raw.
It's better.
and real in
He's a
that.
more likable Jake Browning.
Yeah.
Jake Browning tried to be all like petty and shit after their win. Drew Lock's just like, I don't fucking care, man. Put that shit on. Let's go.
Yeah. Drew
I'm like,
Lock is
Go get it, Drew Lock.
Yeah, great interview. Good job by Lisa Salters and drilling into that and getting that level of honesty at him. But good on Drew Lock for being vulnerable enough to put that out there. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Ryan Tannehill taking first team reps for Will Levis, who suffered a sprained ankle in week 15. So Tannehill likely to start for the Titans. Randy Bullock placed on IR ending his season. Kicker news. You're welcome. Trevor Lawrence not practicing. CJ Beathard's going to be in line to start there. Christian Watson returned to practice in a limited fashion for Green Bay, while Jaden Reed was also limited. Reed's been limited the last couple weeks and played, same injuries. Jamar Chase is going to miss week 16. DJ Stroud is still not practicing with a concussion. And Pickett's back at practice in a limited fashion, but not going to start. Anything that tickled your fancy there that you feel we need to expand on more?
Sucks to be if you need a fancy quarterback this week.
That's
And you're
All
right, he's
year,
got the
man.
starter.
It's been
Yeah.
bad.
Been
It's
tough.
been rough all year.
Yep.
It's still bad right now. I have CJ Stroud and Trevor Lawrence as my quarterbacks, and here I am this week. I have no one right now.
Tough. 17 game season, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep. Going
Beer
deep to Puka.
review.
Dropped.
Dude, it's gonna be close. Because he was on the ground, completes the catch, and then as he's rolling and as he's being rolled, okay, so they did really complete, but it's a really,
They're really
it's a really
incomplete or
impressive incomplete.
He's already
Yeah,
had
they
a
already got
nice
the next
day,
play.
though. 5 for 63 and a touchdown.
Yeah, this one would have been a big play. I'm surprised I didn't look at this more. I'm surprised the Rams didn't challenge it. I think he caught that, but maybe one of those running on the field type situations. They ruled it incomplete. That's a catch. I think that's a catch.
Yeah.
But what the fuck
I'm
is a
seeing
catch?
something. I'm seeing something different on my end. I don't know why I'm seeing.
No, they ruled it complete.
Yeah, they're really complete. I'm already like 2 plays ahead. Or 1 play ahead.
Okay.
So it was
I saw
complete.
it. And Kyron Williams is hurt. Looks like he got fucking plopped in the eye.
Oh,
Captain Insano shows no mercy.
Helmets off. I mean, it is the Saints, so they have a storied history of
somebody going to
overearning
talk about
people.
their beer.
Yes, I am
Oh
drinking.
yes.
Well, you right around asked me about Puka's play, so sorry. Anyways, I'm drinking Pollyanna's Rustic Route in collaboration with Goldfinger Brewing and Benny's Beverage Depot. This is the American Country Lager, 6.5%. Go back and listen to the show if you want to hear about the bill of the beer. It's got a lot of flavor and body to it. Obviously, you're gonna get your malt characteristics, your toastiness, your breadiness from it, the light dry finish, but the body of it definitely shines through than most of these for most American lagers, and it's tasty. It's a very well done lager. There's not much more to say.
And I had New Orthodox IPA, which is by Old Nation Brewing. Their grapefruit IPA comes in at 7%, 65 IBUs. Malter pills. It says boil hops, Calpso, Amarillo, Citra, dry hop, Citra, Amarillo, Simcoe. Simcoe?
Simcoe.
Simcoe.
Calypso.
So like you definitely like grab the glass, you take a sniff of it, you definitely get a heavy hit of the grapefruit. Definitely very smooth. Definitely not as juicy as you think it'd be. Like I thought it'd be juicy, but like you guys said, it'll have more of a dry backing to it, and definitely has a dry backing to it.
That's the brute.
But definitely
That's
pulls out.
the champagne yeast, Brutus, which
Oh, is it?
is designed
Yep.
to dry things out.
Typically
But
pairing
definitely-
it with other New Zealand hops to kind of give it a white grape type
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
no,
okay.
bodied feel to it. And
Yep,
dry
yeah.
finish.
White grape and some like bright fruit, but the brute portion of it is dry. Essentially, brute means dry. I'm pretty sure.
That's exactly how it finished. Like it starts as a grapefruit, then it actually has like a great finish to it.
Cool.
Very good.
It's the only brewed IPA I actually like. B43.
I had one in a competition that I had to judge.
It was a very
Mm.
short-lived fad.
It was
I'm
all right.
honestly surprised they're still doing. I'm honestly surprised they made it a year round. So good for them.
All right. Czech Pilsner from Urban Chestnut, and there's really not a whole lot you can say about Urban Chestnut's lagers and pilsners other than they're really, really good. Hop characters spot on, yeast characters spot on. It's not drying, but there's a water quality thing here too, even that's very minerally, that is just absolutely nailed. Malt characters kind of crackery, bready, but not overly sweet or anything like that. It's just a nice, good backbone for the spicier, pepperier Czech hops to shine against, which gives it kind of a warming feeling. So, yeah, real clean, real good to drink. Hell of a beer, extremely good beer. So, job to them. Finish is nice. All right, let's go ahead and. I kind of lost where I was at in the show because I was intentionally jumping around randomly to just for fun. So I think
We're gonna talk about playoffs.
talk about the rest of this. Right now, as it stands today, let's start with the AFC. Get a notepad. Something. All right, starting with the AFC. The Dolphins are likely to win the East. They've got 2 games on the Bills in the win column at the moment with 3 left. So, you think the Bills take the Dolphins, or do you think that the Dolphins are going to lock up the AFC?
I think it's the
It's
Bills.
hard.
It's the Bills to lose because the Dolphins teams
Oh,
struggle
absolutely.
against
Yeah.
Dolphins struggle with teams over 500.
The Bills are going to make up the 2-game deficit in the last 3.
No. They get them in week 18.
Yeah,
Miami's stretch is absolutely daunting.
Yep, they've got
Miami
the-
could lose the rest of the way.
Cowboys, Ravens, and Bills.
There is a very realistic world in which Buffalo and Miami are playing for the division in week 18. Buffalo gets the Chargers, New England. Dolphins get Dallas at Baltimore.
So call it. Who you putting in from the division?
I'm still saying Miami. It's very difficult it's at home against Buffalo too.
I'll take the Bills.
I'll take perfect. Bills and
I'll
Dolphins.
I'll just be on the back end of it just because
That's
Miami
fair.
have been losing out their offensive linemen have been
Right.
dropping.
Well, 2-1 on. This is a collaborative effort. So 2-1 on the Dolphins. We'll get back to the Bills when we talk wild card. Cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. AFC West. Right now the Broncos are at 7-7. The Chiefs are at 9-5. So same scenario, right? There's a 2-game in the win column with 3 to play. Any chance the Broncos run down the Chiefs?
That feels like a no.
Clear reach.
Is there a chance? Sure. Do I really think it's going to happen? No.
I don't think so either because I've got the Chiefs beating. Yeah, I've got the Chiefs beating, not losing out.
You get Raiders, Bengals, and Chargers. You get 3 teams missing their starting quarterback from week 1.
Yep, Raiders, Bengals, Chargers. They could easily win out.
And Broncos is also very easy. New England, Chargers, Raiders. It's literally it's almost mirrored.
They both went out. It's still the Chiefs. The Chiefs would have to drop.
Yeah. Yep.
2 or all 3 of those. I think all 3 given the head-to-head. So
effectively, and there's no. I mean, you have to look at tiebreakers because there's no. It's they were split head-to-head this year, so.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go ahead and give that to Kansas City.
Yeah. Ryan.
Yeah.
Sweep it.
All right.
Love
You got the same thing in the AFC North. 2 games separate the Browns and the Ravens. Ravens got that.
Yeah.
Ravens they look like the best team in the AFC. They have been
It's gonna
for
be
most
like
of
we're
this
all
year.
wacko for Flacco right now, but he's eventually gonna come back down to earth and have a fluky
Yeah.
game where it doesn't get over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns.
I mean, he almost lost to the Bears, so
All right. AFC South is your fun one. Jags,
Oh
Colts,
Jesus.
Texans, all at 8-6.
this one's insane. It's going to depend on Lawrence's health for me. I think Jacksonville takes it if he only misses this game.
So they got the Bucks this game, which they could end up losing. Then they got the Panthers and the Titans.
Oh,
So
they're all tied. Oh, I forgot they're all
They're all
tied.
tied.
Oh,
Yeah, they're all tied.
God, that's right. I thought Jacksonville had a game in hand.
No game in hand. They are all tied. So-
Oh, I don't think it's Houston. Just too many
He with
injuries.
Case Keenum? Like Case Keenum right now.
Yeah, I'm real excited for
Well,
Case Keenum.
So let's look at this team by team. The Jags' last 3 games are the Buccaneers with CJ Beathard for sure, the Panthers, and the Titans. I've got them beating the Panthers, probably losing to the Bucks, and the Titans game feels like a coin flip.
So they can either go 2-1 or 1-2.
Yeah. I'm gonna say if it came down to that they would go 2-1. Is what I'm gonna predict.
Indy, Houston, week 18.
The Jacksonville and Tennessee in week 18.
Yeah. Well, tennis, yeah, it's more so.
Yeah.
I think Indy has the easier schedule. At Atlanta, then their last 2 final games are road games or home games against the Raiders and Texans.
So
Jacksonville's been absolutely dominant on the road. They're 5-1 on the road this year, 3-5 at home. So advantage to them too, also having 2 road games left. I'm
I'm gonna
gonna give it to Indy. I'm giving it to Indy.
Are ya?
Yep. Baker or not, I'm sorry, Minshew, same difference. Breathes a lot of life in that team. They're getting Jonathan Taylor back. Pittman's not as hurt as I think a lot of people expected him to be. Lawrence is entering concussion protocol. Their team has been wildly up and down this year. They should be the best team in this division, but I'm gonna give it to Indy, and it's gonna lock in homeboy's coach of the year. I can't remember his name. Steichen?
Shane Steichen.
Chase Tyson.
Yeah. So you're giving it to Indy, Ryan. Who are you giving it to?
I'm gonna give it to Indy.
I feel like just giving it to Houston. I didn't think they were going to win the last week. They ended up pulling it off. I think they can. Stroud, he'll be out again this week. It's gonna be a tough matchup against the Browns.
I've got
I
them.
think they actually challenge the Browns.
I've got them losing to the Browns, but I think the last two games. So I got them 2-1 down the stretch. I got Jacksonville 1-2 down the stretch. I've got Indy 2-1 down the stretch, and then it's what's the tiebreaker for Indy and Houston?
Week 18 against Houston, right?
I'm gonna give it to Houston.
That would be a fun game. I'd give that one to Houston.
I'm gonna side
too.
with Ryan on this one. I'm gonna give it to Houston.
Woohoo! LFG.
Miami, KC, Baltimore, and Houston win the division. Your wild card right now would be the Bills at 8-6, the Broncos at 7-7, Browns at 9-5, the Bengals at 8-6, and then the two teams that don't get in on the South for 3 position. So Browns right now have that top wild card spot locked down. What's their remaining schedule? With Flacco. So they've got the Texans, which is a winnable game, the Jets, which is a very winnable game, and then the Bengals. I think the Browns are getting in on one of those wild card spots.
I think
I can see that.
I see Cleveland, Buffalo, and then it's gonna be. I think that's where you can see the Colts or Jacksonville slide in. Maybe Denver. I think one of those three teams.
Colts and Jacksonville have a game in hand over Denver, so Denver almost has to win out. I
Just have
think
their schedule pulled up. For sure, Buffalo, Cleveland.
Buffalo, Cleveland for sure. I'm in agreement with that. So that's going to leave you with.
And Ryan thinks Buffalo's going to win the division potentially, so Miami would be in that spot
Yeah.
as well if that collapse does happen.
Yeah. So Buffalo, Cleveland, and then your last spot is going to be between the Bengals, the Broncos, the Colts.
I mean,
and the
Denver's
Jaguars.
got New England, Chargers, and Raiders. Away game, week 18 against the Raiders.
They can win.
Denver's have a very, if they're as good as they've played through the second half of the season since their return to this spot, the defense has played incredible. The offense has played, good enough compared to last year where they were the worst offense in football.
Week.
Yeah, or last week, right?
So,
Again,
but them
Lions decided to show up.
The Denver going 10-7 though, then they need help in the tiebreaker realm, because if they do win out, they're 10-7, and I think Dan, from what you were saying with the Colts potentially winning the division, they would need to go 2-1, which would put them at 10. I think,
And then you're looking at tiebreakers at that point.
yeah, and I don't know if the Bengals can go. Can the Bengals win out?
It's probably. I'm going to say the story's been nice with Brownie, but
No, they got Steelers, Chiefs, Browns. They are more likely to go 1-2 or lose out.
they're more. Yeah, fuck, they could go 0-3.
I'm throwing them.
Depending on how.
I'm throwing them out. So
Yeah, I would too, and
Right.
especially with no Chase, and Chase probably won't play next week too. So
yeah. So Broncos at 10-7, Colts at 10-7, Jaguars. I'm gonna go ahead and throw. I don't know what the tiebreakers would be.
I'm not looking that deep into it.
No, I'm not either. I'm gonna assume the AFC South teams, because that division has better records overall probably have the higher strength of schedule. Than what
Is that the
Denver did.
tiebreaker after head-to-head, or is it
Yeah.
conference?
It's strength of schedule, I'm pretty sure. Let me check.
Okay. But yeah, I think the South has a good chance to put it in 2 teams. I think you can get. It's just going to be right. It's going to be either Denver or one of
It's
those interceptions.
head to head and then division record. Strength of schedule 6, actually.
Okay.
It's actually division record that comes next.
Ooh,
And your division record right now
Jacksonville's 4-1.
in the division.
Indy's 3-2. Houston's 2-2.
What's Denver?
Denver is 2-2 as well. So they're all Jacksonville could, right? If they, they're also again 8-6. If they go 2-1, they themselves can find themselves a chance, right? They only have one division game left though.
Go Jacks.
So does Houston, or so does the Colts. Yeah.
Go Jacks. I'm gonna say Jacksonville.
If Denver gets the Raiders and Chargers for their final 2 divisions, they can easily go 4-2.
Yeah.
All Jacksonville has to do is win their last divisional game, which against the Titans, who have been
Mm-hmm.
bad and are officially eliminated from playoff contentions. So
Probably going to be the most fun race to watch, but
yeah, should
it's
be.
that third wild card spot in the AFC. All right, let's look at the NFC. Cowboys, Eagles right now tied atop the East.
But don't look at point differential. That's all we were last year about Minnesota.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Wow.
It's stark difference, but that's because Dallas beats up on bad teams and then lose to good teams outside of the Eagles, who maybe aren't as good as people thought. But
So the Eagles have the Giants, the Cardinals, and the Giants again to close out. They
should
are in a good position to win out.
Should win out. They should. They also should have beat Seattle Monday night.
Yeah, but they've also got that whole weird, like, Pete Carroll just has their number in there. I don't know.
I think it's more so the offensive woes are
think so,
finally
too.
catching up.
Cowboys have the Dolphins, the Lions, and the Commanders.
Harder schedule for Dallas.
Harder schedule for Dallas.
They've looked better though of recent.
I'm going to go Philly by a hair, and Dallas is in easily as a wild card.
Yeah, Dallas is the 5th seed. Ryan, where are you at?
I'd flip it the other way around. I think Dallas will win that, and then the Eagles will drop down to the 5th seed. Just based on what I saw Monday night, like the way
I just don't.
Pete Carroll kind of played a better zone defense where they were trying to force Hurts to run and game opportunity run, but Hurts decided just to bomb it. And I feel like Hurts is going to try to play hero with his arm and just throw the bombs.
So that didn't make sense to me either. I noticed that as well, particularly in the second half, where the Eagles are completely lacking in intermediate game. They're not throwing,
which is fucking crazy to me.
Because you have Goddard and Swift.
Goddard, Smith,
Swift.
Goddard, Smith, Swift, and Brown.
Yeah.
And really it's Brown and Smith and Goddard working the intermediate seams because they like to use Goddard up the seam too. That to me is fucking wild that they are struggling in what should be their best strength.
Yeah. And when I saw those deep passes, I go, that's gonna be intercepted. And sure enough, both of them were intercepted. I'm like, every time I'm like, I called intercepted.
As soon as it left his hand, I knew it because I could tell from the arm angle there was way too much fucking air going under that ball.
It was like Jamarcus Russell all over again.
It was underthrown, and it looked like he short armed it, but he wasn't being hit when he let go. But it looked like he short armed it, put a bunch of air under it, which just left it open to be picked. And that
you have your timeouts left.
Yeah, there was no reason for that. Their lack of an intermediate game just baffles me. But the remaining schedule is against teams that are absolutely dog shit too. So
if Dallas goes 2-0 in these next 2 games against the Dolphins and the Lions, and yes, this Dallas is easily but the Eagles have it easier.
Also, very easily lose one of those 2. I don't think they lose both.
Yeah, they could. Again, you got 2 good teams, playoff teams, and Dallas is this whole season besides their game against their game 2 weeks ago against the Eagles, have struggled against teams that are above 500. It's been insane. So I'll lean Philly just because of the strength of the schedule towards the end of the year. Philly should go 3-0. 2 Giants, Cardinals games, and they have 2 home games. Like I'd be surprised. I'd be shocked.
Yeah, I'm going Philly.
I'll see him going 3-0.
Yeah, if both teams go 3-0,
Mhm.
then you'll have your tiebreakers in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they have to beat the Giants twice, right? And
they would have the same division record if they tied. If both teams go 3-0, they would both go 5-1 in the division
yeah,
with their lone loss against the other team.
Giants twice and the Cardinals at home. Like I don't see them losing one of those games.
I don't, but I can see a world in which Dallas goes 3-0.
I see a world where Dallas also goes 3-0,
which means that
tiebreaker.
If Minnesota,
I don't see Philly. Anyway, all right, Niners easily in the NFC West.
Yeah,
yes,
they're the best team.
agree.
They're the best team in football right now. Playing out
probably the Super Bowl champions already.
They should be the favorites. They're the favorites for sure. They'd be the favorites.
They already have
in every game.
They're 11-3 with 3 to play. One of those
they locked the division up already.
They're winning they've already got that division.
Yeah.
Lions have 3 games in hand over the Vikings. Are we giving the Lions the North?
Yes, my local Meyer already did.
The best
NFC
the
North
greatest
champions.
thing about this is that both their games against Minnesota are in the next 3 weeks. And then their third game, which is against Dallas.
Minnesota has 3 division games left.
Yeah, they play Detroit and then they have
Green Bay.
The Packers in between them.
Yes.
Now, do I think it's going to be Detroit? Absolutely. Like it's hard. It's a hard way for me to see it, but there's a fucking world in which the division's up for grabs in week 18 in Detroit.
I wouldn't mind that either. I like having fun.
If you guys win,
I'm saying Minnesota just because of homerism.
If you win this week and beat the Packers, then the division's up for grabs. I'm going Detroit on this one though.
Me too.
The logical answer is
Detroit. What I see.
But the homer answer in me, I'm going and because of chaos and because we'll see if Detroit can, if they can lock it in these next 3 games. They just have to win tomorrow or on Sunday. They just have to win Sunday.
Plus, we just like to have fun, Dan. So I don't mind it.
Yeah, it's in Minnesota. It could be, maybe we'll see Nick Mullins, but
I love Nick Mullins.
I'm preaching for chaos. I want chaos to happen.
Mike, you're gonna get it.
I don't either.
NFC.
I'm here for it.
NFC South. Buccaneers and Saints both at 7-7 right now. Falcons at 6-8. Bucks currently Saints currently losing. Potentially going to 7-8. I agree this should be the Buccaneers.
They get Saints in week 17 at home. Likely the game for the division. If Atlanta does make their run and New Orleans wins in 17 and potentially South is up for grabs in week 18 with Saints at home against Atlanta.
I think New Orleans is better.
But I'm going I'm going Tampa Bay. They're getting their ass kicked. They're 27-7.
Yeah, 27.
Yeah.
27-7.
I'm just saying, like even if they lose, there's still a chance for them. It's not guaranteed that Tampa Bay is going to beat Jacksonville.
Well,
I love Baker, but you
can
get many different worlds of Baker.
With Bethard at quarterback, though, it's likely. It's not guaranteed, but it's likely. And it's also likely.
I've learned with Baker, there's no guarantee with Baker.
It's also likely they're beating the Panthers as well. I mean, I've got them.
Yeah.
They may not beat the Saints. They may. I mean, I got them at worst going 2-1 over this last stretch. They lose to. They're gonna go 1-1 again in the next.
And Atlanta would have to actually show up and do their thing, which
I don't think Atlanta's gonna.
If anyone's watched Atlanta, recently, they're not.
I don't think Atlanta's gonna push for this. We're giving this one.
I'm giving Ryan.
Yeah, same thing. Yep.
All right,
sweep it.
Wild card.
2 wild card spots left, with Dallas already going in on
6 and 7. Yeah. So Dallas or Phillies. It's going to be the 5th seed.
Yes.
In this case, it's going to be Dallas for our
and then
for our show.
You got a bunch of 7 and 17, Rams are about to win to go to 8-7. The Seahawks are at 7-7 right now. The Vikings are at 7-7. And then the Saints are at 7-7. They're basically, as far as anybody else that could jump up, Packers have an outside shot at 6-8, and the Falcons.
Rams should win tonight. Should win next week. They have a road game to end the season at San Francisco.
We'll lose that one.
Bear in mind, Niners could have the number 1 seed locked up by then.
That's true. Could be playing backups, and they got the Giants. It looks like all playoff hopes go through Tommy DeVito, is what I'm seeing right now.
Seattle
Wow.
gets a Tennessee on the road this week, home against Pittsburgh, at Arizona. Should be 3-0 sweep for them to go 10-7. Should be.
Yeah, maybe on the Pittsburgh game. 2-1.
Pittsburgh game. Pittsburgh will just play teams tough in general. We talked about the Saints. The Vikings obviously get Detroit twice and Green Bay at home. 2 home games left for them.
They could easily go.
It's going to be a fucking battle. Vikings have game in hand over Saints. And that would be it for any teams vying for this last spot.
The Rams in wild card 2.
Rams, I think it's Rams, Minnesota.
They're getting hot right now. There's a possibility they
God
could be playing
damn it,
Lions
is
in
it
the
though?
playoffs.
Could the NFC West really put in 3 teams? They could. Could be Rams, Seattle.
Could be Rams, Seattle.
Eh.
Could be Minnesota. I don't see it coming out of the South. So I'm really between
no.
Seattle and Minnesota for that last spot. And I think it depends on what quarterback Seattle goes with the rest of the way.
I don't think Rams are guaranteed though either. Again,
I
it
don't think
depends
they're
what San Francisco
guaranteed,
is
but-
at. If San Francisco's still playing for the 1 seed in Week 18, I think that's a loss for the Rams.
Yeah, but I
Which means
think
you go 2-1.
they're winning tonight, and I think they're beating the Giants. So at 2-1, that would give them 9-7.
So then Seattle goes
Vikings.
3-0 at worst, 2-1 with the loss against Pittsburgh. Minnesota's probably the one that's looking on the outside in if we're going off of strength of schedule and opponents left.
Yeah. Well, and I think that for the Rams, right, if Seattle wins out and let's say that they do leapfrog them, I still think that they've got a solid shot at just ending up in the 7th spot.
Week
Yeah.
18 is going to be fucking massive for the last 2. Like it's going to be like last year with the NFC. It's going to be just a massive battle for those last 2 seeds.
Seattle got
Seattle's
the Rams
got Tennessee, Pittsburgh, and Cardinals. Tennessee and the Cardinals are on the road. Pittsburgh's at home.
so they could win out.
They could win out. Pittsburgh's probably their toughest match, but they're home.
We'll call it. So they went out. They go over the Rams. I don't think the Vikings are going to win out, but 9-7 is still realistic. So between
10.
them and the Rams,
It'd be 9-8 or 10-7.
Yeah, 9-8. Sorry, I think 9-8 for them and the Rams is realistic. We would hold the tiebreaker, probably.
I mean,
the Rams.
There's a world in it's like last year for Detroit, right? Detroit had to, Detroit beats Green Bay, but Seattle played a weekend final team, and they basically got in because they played a bunch of backups. That could be Seattle versus Minnesota this year in reverse, where Seattle plays against the Rams play against a bunch of backup Niners after they locked the 1 seed. Well, Minnesota, so trying to fight Detroit, but again, we've seen this before. Since the 1 seed thing is only bye week team, is that some teams, if they know that they're not getting the 1 seed, they may rest their starters.
Yeah,
because they may not change much between the 2 and 3 seed.
I don't know.
So Detroit could also be sitting their guys in Week 18 to lock up that division if they beat Minnesota next week.
You're
or
trying to wish cast
this week.
You're wish casting.
I'm not. If it was me, it's going to be Rams and Seattle based on strength of schedule.
That's where I'm at too, but I would not be surprised for the Vikings to sneak in. I think is where I'm at.
No, I will not be.
I think it's Rams.
That's
and
why I wish cast, because
I'm going
it's the same
Rams
thing
and
for the
Seattle,
Packers.
but I think that the Vikings absolutely could sneak in. I don't feel that way about the Saints or the Falcons or the Packers.
No.
So I think that you've got 3 teams vying for 2 spots.
Ryan.
Dude, I don't know. I give up.
Yeah.
It's so like complicated trying to figure. Like I'm sitting
Can
here
we ask
looking
this
at them all.
question next week or
Yeah.
after this game?
No, we will. I plan to just do this next week.
I
and
feel like we're
Yeah.
gonna learn a lot more after.
I feel
Yeah,
like
because
we're gonna
like,
learn
I'm
a
sitting
lot
here
more.
like
we're gonna do this next
wa-
week and week 17 just for
Okay.
fun. So yeah,
Or
we're
week
gonna.
18, yeah.
That's why I'm writing it down. I'm gonna keep this right here, and we're gonna see if it changes at all.
Okay.
because I just see the Rams still winning out. I mean, they have a tough game against in Week 18 against San Francisco for the division.
I think we're all putting the Rams.
Not
in.
for the division.
Yeah,
Who do you have, Seattle
I'm
or
putting Seattle in
Minnesota?
for sure. Seattle is my.
I don't know if I
Mine
can put
for
in
sure.
Seattle though.
Again,
because they have-
it's going to land on week 18. It's going to land on San Francisco and whether or not they've locked number 1 seed, and same thing for Detroit. If they have
But
nothing
Seattle,
to play
like-
for to get better.
Seattle has those wins that they shouldn't have had, and they have those losses that they shouldn't have had. And you're like, what the hell just happened?
Same thing with Minnesota.
Yeah, like I just
The Rams are the better of the 3 looking teams relatively.
like if
It-
Seattle
well-
loses this week, then I can guarantee you they're out.
I don't see them losing to Tennessee. But again,
What NFL teams are a lot harder.
it's
to predict than
unpredictable.
college football teams.
And it's Tannehill coming in. It's not some rookie. It's not
Yeah.
some fucking journeyman. I guess he's a journeyman kind of, but he was the starter to start the year. So I don't know.
And then week 18, Arizona, it's like it's a division game.
I'm
It's
not
just
putting
another
much
one.
more. I'm not putting much more thought into this. This is going to be all probably futile after these games. We're going to
Yeah,
No.
having a different conversation next
We're
week
gonna
about
come
it.
back on this next week and see where
Yeah,
it's at
yeah.
for fun. This is where we're at 3 weeks out. So, all right.
yeah. This is definitely fun going back and forth with it, but it's just like I don't know.
No, nobody knows.
gonna
And
stump.
It's fun to cast the scenarios out there and see, but
Yep.
just part of being a fan.
Absolutely.
I enjoy it, but the Giants, Commanders, Cardinals, Bears, Panthers all have no shot. Jets, Patriots, Chargers, and Titans. AFC's just all right. That's the show. Thank you all for tuning in. Catch you next week.
See ya.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays.
Beer Field.
Damn. Next week is our last fantasy football regular season episode ever.
So bittersweet. But I got to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about it
I was
This week.
Oh, wait.
What?
Recording stop.